The show must go on. See how there's a delay over here on the streaming.
Where are we live?
Right now we're live
So I
on
know
Instagram.
we're not the Kirsten Went too close.
We are
Where are we
live
live right now?
right now on Instagram. We are going
Where's
to be
IG? The tablet?
Yep.
The pad?
Yep. And it should come. It's a delay here. Now we are live on the rest of the apps. Look for you and me over here. Here we are. We are going public.
So we're just going to address some of the notes, but I mean, these are what we should do is just address these as
We are now live.
as
Welcome to the Team Powerhouse Show, live with you every Tuesday night. It's been a few minutes since Eric and I have been sitting here talking real estate, and but
something like that.
it's something that we've been doing a lot of podcasts. Also, with Mike doing the crypto podcast too. We've had a couple of great guests. Eric, slide over a little bit so Instagram can get a better visual on your bio here. It's so great to have you guys. So great to have you guys all back with us on a real estate podcast. A lot of things happening in the market and things need to happen. And we're excited to have you guys here today. We're going to talk about the truth about selling in 2025. What exactly you should know it's happening.
Well, it's really us taking, so there's information out there, right?
Yes.
And sometimes it's not really well explained to the sellers out there, there's like a catchphrase, there's a catchphrase, but it really doesn't explain how that catchphrase applies to you.
So we're going to get into details. Eric, come closer. Get a little bit closer.
Come on, a little bit
I can only see one arm. Instagram can only see one arm. That's why I'm saying everybody. So they're the guns, right? There you go. All right. So very important to know the best philosophy. Don't wait for the market to tell you what to do. Get ahead of it. In real estate, those who win are the ones who move with strategy, not with fear. There is so much fear out there as sellers. And it's all about the mindset and being proactive. The people who are the wealthiest people in the world are the people who are the movers and shakers, and not sitting on the sidelines, not doing anything. You have an opportunity now as a homeowner, as a seller, to really capitalize on opportunity, equity in your home, and what you have the advantage of in buying the next home out there. Why 2025 is different is a different market. Mortgage rates are hovering around 6 or 7%, 6 to 7% range, but buyers are still active and the inventory is limited. Okay,
So there's still more buyers than there are houses.
There are still more buyers than there are houses, but not as many buyers as there normally is in a normal spring market. And it's kind of a slower spring market than we've seen in a long time because of lack of inventory.
But I don't get the impression that because there's less buyers, that the sales prices are being impacted.
100% correct. The sale prices are still going up.
It's just instead of getting 30 offers, you're only getting 15.
Exactly.
Basically,
right.
That's the difference.
And we need that inventory, and you as a homeowner need to kind of wake up over here. 2025 is not a market crash. The 2025 is not a market crash. It's a confidence test. So you're being tested on your confidence, sellers. Okay. And it's important to understand what that means. Okay. Unlike in 2008, actually, Eric, why don't you talk about this?
No, you can talk about it.
Unlike in 2008, we don't have a flood of foreclosures or excess supply. Homes are scarce, especially in desirable areas. And that scarcity is keeping prices stable. While prices are going up, right? It's not going up like to the moon crazy because the amount of buyers are out there shopping because of the amount of inventory that's there. We need more inventory. If you sellers want to make more money, you got to get your house in the market, and the market's going to start to dramatically change for you as a seller. The challenge isn't the demand, it's the confidence for you to list. Eric.
The challenge to what?
List the home. The challenge is the mindset of not listing the house, being worried about where am I going to go? What am I going to do?
Well, demand is a challenge, but it's a challenge for the buyers.
It's a challenge for the buyers as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, just some of the notes that I have here is look at your local market, not national fear. So you're hearing stories on some of the the
National
bigger
news.
networks, and they're talking about what the market's doing in other states or whatever. Okay, if you don't live in New Mexico, what are you worried about where New Mexico State is?
And I think, and you made a good point. Now, I think a lot of times you'll watch even your local news, and they're talking about national real estate, not even the local market.
Right, and I don't even know how often the local news stations are doing real estate stories, but
And typically, when you watch the news, real estate is 6 months behind on the media versus what's actually happening too.
well, yeah. I mean, talk to a real estate, talk to your agent, don't watch the news for your real estate information, because that's not the place you're going to get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and in that, confidence is going to come from knowing the actual facts and not the noise that's out in the news. So
100%.
your agent is going to tell you, going to give you the skinny, and you're going to make your decision based on that information.
You definitely want to talk to a realtor, a real estate professional. And again, make sure when you're talking to a realtor, somebody who's been in the business for a while that knows the market. Experience does matter. It makes a difference on the history of the real estate market and the current market. Hey, we got Dylan Vasquez watching too.
Who?
D. Vasquez. Mr. Dylan Vasquez is watching you.
Oh.
I'm going to give that
D. Vasquez
yeah,
joined.
a shout out to your son over there. Your equity is earning nothing.
That's mine.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Read it, my friend.
Eric.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Down here.
Yes.
This guy, I swish. No, it says here, I mean, your equity is earning nothing sitting in the walls. That means in the walls of your home, right? A 3% rate on a home you've outgrown is still costing you life opportunities. By life opportunities, they mean you are at a stage where you need to upgrade or upsize because the family's growing, or you need to downsize. You can't do either one because you feel it's not the right time because of the interest rates or whatever the case may be, but that 3% rate that you need the confidence to just move ahead.
That's right. That just because you have a 3% rate doesn't mean you should not sell your house. You've got $300,000 in equity in your home. Well, that $300,000 you're going to put down. When you bought your first home, you probably put down 5%, 3%. Now you're putting down 20, 30, maybe 40%. Who knows how much you're putting down?
Well, you're doing that if you have the equity in your home
Exactly.
to put on that next house, or if you're downsizing, you're buying it out entirely.
That's a very good point.
You might be buying it out entirely, and you don't have to worry about interest rates.
That's a very good point. So you have all this equity. Let your money work for you, because you're going to buy. If you're upgrading, you're going to take a significant amount of cash. Maybe you're taking some of the cash and paying off bills, getting some of the debt out of your name. Maybe you're going and taking a 10%, 20% down on your house, eliminating mortgage insurance. And by the way, speaking of mortgage insurance, very important to know, if you bought a house in the last 3 years, you should and it's been, let's say, an FHA or less than 20% down, you should definitely get in touch with your bank that you have the mortgage with. You probably can take out mortgage insurance right away from the mortgage itself, because you've got the 20% in equity. If you have 20% equity in your house, you now can release the mortgage insurance.
Yeah. I mean, confidence comes from focusing on the net gain. So, I mean, just look at it as a win.
Absolutely.
You bought it for whatever price you bought it at 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Just don't focus on the interest rate. Just take the win.
You could even buy your rate down with the extra cash you have. You literally could take the rate of 6%, buy it down to 3% with all that extra equity in your home and get back that 3% interest rate. That's actually
You got all the rest. I just wanted the bottom of page 1.
All right. Waiting for the perfect market. Are you waiting for the perfect market? Sellers think maybe I'll wait until next year. Not realizing today's buyers are active and hungry. They're still paying strong prices for homes. You do not want to miss out on opportunity. And the less people in your neighborhood who have a home for sale, that just puts you as number one.
I never understood the maybe I'll wait until next year philosophy, because it's like, okay, a lot can happen in a year.
Absolutely.
Next
year, there might be 6 houses in the street for sale, and now you have competition.
And they're being sold, like, some of them may be taking less money than what they probably should be. And guess what? They're going to impact your
value,
your house value.
Right.
So.
And also, if your home today doesn't have all the bells and whistles in it and you're on the market, you've got less competition, so that it might stand out even more than it will when you have competition that has more amenities to that home, to your home.
So is
your
Dylan
home.
the only one watching, or
No, it's just
Okay.
the one you're seeing right there.
okay?
All right. So you can't time the top or the bottom, but you can time your life needs and act with power. How you act, the power you have, to know the power you have is all the difference in the world. Confidence comes from readiness, not perfection. It doesn't have to be perfect, especially when you don't have a lot of competition in the real estate market right now against you. You don't have to know everything. You just need to know who to trust. And that would be Team Powerhouse to sell your house, or your friend that's a real estate agent you trust, your real estate professional. Don't trust somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, or people who sold a house or bought a house several years ago that you're feeding you information and now you're listening to those as your trusted advisors. It's the most important financial decision of your life. Listen to the professionals. The bottom line for sellers is this market rewards confidence, preparation, and action. Sitting still doesn't protect your money. It paralyzes your options, right? And people are paralyzed. A lot of people are paralyzed. We talk, oh, I don't know. That house I want to buy isn't on the market yet. That house pops in the market when you list your home. It's a domino effect. Someone's upsizing, someone's downsizing. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
You want to go on to the next part?
No.
Okay. If fear is holding you back from listing,
Well,
let's
throwing you those little curveballs. You know?
let's replace it with facts. Let's talk about your real options and give you back control. Don't you want control? Don't you want to be in control of your destiny in the real estate game? Because if you have control, you're likely to win and do very well as a seller. All right. Confidence starts with conversation. It's time to talk and not sit in the sidelines and wait.
Buyers are active, but they are cautious. They want to buy, and in some
Absolutely.
cases, they need to buy. Okay. They're just, they're pausing, they're calculating, they're watching rates, but they're still active.
100%
They're still active.
We are getting calls all the time for homes, and it's tough because there's certain areas that people want to live in, whether it's New Haven County, Harford County, Shoreline, etc., Litchfield County. I mean, Fairfield County. Some towns have a lot of homes for sale, which is ironic.
What happened?
Some towns have a lot more homes for sale.
Right.
And then some towns have very little homes. It's about 37. We're up to 3,700 homes right now in Connecticut, which is pretty decent compared to we were about, 3-4 months ago. We're in the ballpark of maybe 2,400. But 3,700 homes in Connecticut for sale in the whole state, that's not a lot of homes.
But it's also the time of year that I would expect to be the numbers higher.
That's why it's so wonky.
Right.
That is the wonkiness of this whole situation.
I know we did an episode not too long ago where we compared June listings from that year. I think it was last year, 2024, and what it looked like in 2018. And it was like 2,700 houses for sale, and in 2018 it was like 27,000.
Right.
It was like
yes.
tenfold.
Yes.
It was crazy.
What used to be a buyer's market versus a seller's market, right? And now we have this seller's market. I think the sellers are going to start to lose control if they don't realize what they have in front of them. That's the problem. Because when you have a situation where if you have more homes in your neighborhood for sale or in your town for sale, you lose leverage. You want to have leverage, get your house in the market. The longer you wait, because if other people are waiting all of a sudden to put your house in the market at the same time, you will lose leverage just on the condition of your home. And buyers look at every little piece of the puzzle. If they have less options, they're going to make a decision much quicker with less opportunities that they may have in front of them in the future. And in the future, when more homes in the market, they're going to be, which one is better for me based on X, Y, and Z. Home equity is at a record high.
I'm sure it is.
You have now more equity in your house than you've ever had before. In the last 3 years, we've had people who have bought a house in the last 3 years and now selling, and they're kicking butt. We just closed on a house in Wolcott. They bought their house in less than 3 years, and they did really, really well. They're relocating down to South Carolina. I'm very happy for them, but they bought right. Now you buyers, one more thing, you need to understand this. The prices are only going up. So on the flip side, as a buyer, prices are going up. The longer you wait and sit on the sidelines, the more you're going to pay. It's not a healthy thing to sit on the sidelines. Get in, because the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be to buy. The market is moving. It's not just in the headlines, and especially which headlines you're reading. Talk about that a little bit.
What, the part where it says media sensationalism says crash? You just wanted me to do that because you didn't want to say sensationalism.
Sensationalism.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, local markets like ours are still steady. So,
Yes.
you know, again, it's just a reiteration of what we talked about earlier. It just, if you need the information on local, check the local stuff, not, or like it's, you know, local, your realtor or even your financial advisor will tell you what's going on locally, not nationally.
That's a good point. And again, we keep hearing from people, oh, when is the market going to crash? When is the market going to crash? Like that. It's just not happening.
It's going to crash the day before you list your house.
Right.
You know?
Seriously. No, but we're looking at
You're going to miss it by a day.
Yeah. We're looking at 10-year swing before the market has any kind of changes because of lack of inventory. Even new construction is begging for new construction in all these towns. It's not about survival. It's about the strategy, again, and the mindset. We keep talking about this over and over. Hopefully it's sinking in. Hopefully you're listening. And if you know somebody, if you got family who are older that need to downsize, you have family that's been sitting in this property that needs to be lifted off their hands. They've got all this equity in their house, or even if you have a little bit of equity, okay, you have opportunity right now where you're going to make a lot more money in your house. Eric, who are the winners?
Who are the winners?
Yes.
The go-getters.
The winners are the go-getters.
The go-getters.
Absolutely. You got to play offense. Don't play defense. If you play offense in any sport, the offensive team, we got a poor connection over there.
Unless you're the 86 Bears, you're going to win with offense. That's the only team that's going to win with defense.
Right. Offense is the way to go in every game. Look what just happened with the Pacers and the Knicks. If you're following the game at all, the offense wins. The team that goes and plays the hardest offense is going to be the team that wins. And that's going to play a role for you as a home seller and people who are looking to make opportunity for themselves. Pricing your home wrong is the fastest way to lose money. I'm going to tell you why the price tag on your home is just as much about psychology as it is about value. How you price a house now as a seller is very important, because if your house is priced incorrectly, it could be from a marketing standpoint or priced too high. It can devastate you as a seller because your house now sits in the market. You may have heard this before, maybe you didn't. So we're going to talk a little more about that.
In the long run, though, trust your agent when they tell you what price you should list it at.
100%.
I know, I've had folks call me and tell me, his estimate says my house is worth this, or the house around the corner from me sold for this, so I should be able to get that.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that house is 2 years old.
Right.
Yours is 30.
Right.
Okay. Inside and out.
Right.
So
needs a roof
replacement. Apples and
It
oranges.
needs a new heating
apples
system.
and oranges.
Right.
So
as a matter of fact, you mentioned Zillow. Zillow doesn't know what your house has inside it. Like you just mentioned, it doesn't know the updates that you may have done or not done.
no, they're using a baseline. How many bedrooms you have, how many bathrooms you have, and your square footage.
Yes.
That's it.
That's really what it is.
They don't know if your house might not even have a roof, and they're telling you it's worth whatever figure.
It's what do you call a house with no roof? Like a moon roof, like a
skylight.
Skylight.
One never-ending skylight.
You can see the sky. Let's see.
You call it camping.
Camping, right? Glamping. All right. So, overpricing your house kills momentum. The first 7 to 10 days on the market is the most critical. You should know that. It needs to be something where, and I'm going to say even less. That's a statistic says 7 to 10. I'm going to say 4 to 7 days is critical. Overpricing turns a new listing into damaged goods. It now becomes, well, what's wrong with it? Buyers think if it's on the market after 2 weeks, something is wrong with it. Okay.
Conversely, I'm going to address that for a second. I went to go see a house that I thought was overpriced.
Yes.
And my buyers thought it was overpriced.
Yes.
And then they did a price drop. Okay. And I spoke to the agent, and they actually ended up getting what the original market price was, but because they dropped it from 450 down to 425,
Yeah.
it spurred a lot of activity. A lot of people came in. Somebody came in at 25 over. Now, sometimes it's about timing, you know. Sometimes the person who wanted to see your house didn't get
Yeah.
into the,
Market.
didn't get into the search until the right time. Can't control that.
That is true.
But they ended up getting just exactly what they were listing it for at the original time.
That is
But if
it.
they had listed it at 425 originally,
Yes.
they might have gotten more than the 450 that they ended up getting, going with the 450 at the start.
That is a very, very good example and very, very true. And time and season and what is going in the market, how many homes in the market, 100% play a role.
But it also,
But
I mean,
because you
it
price your house more
hurt
aggressively.
us because we were at 425 for ceiling,
Right.
So we're like, all right, cool, this is in our range now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then it's like, no.
Well, buyers out there should know that if you see a house priced, especially if it just hits the market, let's just say you said 425. If it just hit the market at 425 and your max is 425, you're shopping at the wrong house. If a house has been on the market a couple of weeks and your 425 is your max and it's been listed at 425, there might be some blood in the water there.
Yeah.
Right. But if it just came to market, okay, and your max is 425, my suggestion to you is don't go looking at it right away. You're going to be very disappointed because you cannot go above that price. And most likely, if the house is looking great, it's going to sell for much more. Most of the homes are bidding wars.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's an example here. It says we had 2 homes in the same neighborhood last month. One listed at 649K, just under buyer search brackets, sold in 6 days with 3 offers. 3 offers in that price range is probably apropos.
Yeah.
The other tried to push for 689. They got 0 traction right out the gate and had to drop twice before settling it at 640 after 47 days.
And they
Okay,
could,
and
right.
that's an example of what we were talking about before.
Exactly right. You lose money. Well, two things are happening here. 2 things are happening. Okay. So what's your mortgage payment per month, right? Your taxes, your mortgage, your insurance, you're paying per month. So every month your home stays in the market, it's costing you money. So
Utilities,
yes.
mortgage, taxes.
Yep.
Yep.
So when you're sitting in the market and priced incorrectly, and if you lose a month or 2, well, there's not only that, the cost of the monthly payment of your house and everything else involved in it, let's just say a mortgage payment $3,000, right? And you just mentioned utilities, and it could be another $500. You're looking at $3,500. You lost $7,000 by pricing your house incorrectly, right?
Plus, in the 2 months, the house that you wanted to get just
Right.
went up 50K.
Exactly right. You're selling and buying. Exactly right.
Mhm.
You lost on 3 different sides, so you definitely want to price your house correctly. Very good point. Psychology, the psych, the insight. Humans anchor on first impressions. Now, you guys know that a first impression on anything in life, it could be a female, a male, even a car. Your first impressions make a big difference on your emotions. Okay. So the impression you make when listing your house is everything. If the market sets the price emotionally at 650 and you're pushing for 680, it triggers resistance. Okay. And that becomes not desirable. And then people go, you know what? I see your house. And I will gonna say to you, I'm gonna hold off on your house. It's like a card game, right? I see you and I'm gonna raise you that you're not gonna be selling the house for that price. Price it correctly. And when people price their houses, don't price it like it's at Walmart, because your house isn't Walmart. And put some weird, wild number on your house. When people shop, they shop typically in $25,000 increments. You actually will lose visual presence on your house based on how you price it. I'll leave it at that. Good answer.
I don't know. I was listening.
All right. Price is not just math, Eric. It's emotion. Is there a song about that?
No.
Dun, 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 dun. So it's a song from the 80s.
No.
Okay.
That price isn't just math.
No, it's just the emotion part.
Okay.
The word emotion. You're telling me you really don't. You know all the words of songs.
No.
Yeah, you do.
Don't know that song.
People don't fall in love with square footage. They fall in love with what they feel. When they walk through your home, they get a feeling. And that feeling of nuance, clean, space. Those are things people fall in love with.
Well, that falls in play. That falls in line with the first impression.
Absolutely.
You walk into the house. I mean, obviously, there's still the curb appeal. You know, you can have a gorgeous house on the inside. You walk inside, and you're like, "What happened?"
Right.
You can walk back out, and you open the door a second time because okay, maybe there's a mirror or something. It's
Right.
a joke, you know.
You mean the outside looks so pretty,
Right,
you walk inside,
right.
it's a mess.
Gorgeous, right?
Yes.
And then I've seen the reverse,
Yes.
where it's like, okay,
Looks
this looks a little beat up,
right.
and then you
Outside.
get inside, and it's like, okay, they put everything on the inside.
Right. Didn't maintain the
Yeah.
outside.
Didn't do much with the outside.
Do you know it's funny you mentioned the outside just now because it's so common today that homes are not power washed. And really, do you really want to get your house power washed today? It's spring, almost summer. If you got that schmutz on the outside, my wife always like she gets upset about the schmutz on the outside.
Schmutz.
The power washing. She's big on power washing.
Is that what you call the power washing company? And you tell them, hey, I got schmutz on my.
That's exactly. I say
Really?
schmutz.
Okay.
Schmutz. I got that green schmutz. I need to get rid of that green schmutz. You know, so got to get rid of the green schmutz in your house. Power wash your house. People want to see a clean house from the outside. It just gleams. It shines. It's brighter. It's better. It's healthier. You know,
What it says here, people don't fall in love with square footage. They fall in love with what they feel,
that's right.
and they're looking at your house because of the square footage. They know the
Right.
square footage before they get there.
That's true.
If they need a 3,000 square foot house, they're coming to your house.
That's right.
If you have a 3,000 square foot house and they need 3,000 square feet, they're going to come to your house. How do you present that 3,000 square feet?
Right.
That's where you're going to catch them.
100%. How much crap do you have in that house? Is everything ungestuckt inside your house? Do you space it out? People are different
Here
sizes.
comes the word tchotchkes.
Yeah. Get rid of your tchotchkes. First of all, people come in different sizes. People come with kids. You want to give space to a house. People who are super tall or super short feel things differently in a house from a spacious standpoint. So understand that you want to kind of leave your house open to all interested in desiring your house based on how it feels in there. And the tchotchkes, right? If someone comes in with kids, get your tchotchkes out of the way. Let it be about the house, not the tchotchkes. Get rid of your plants. Plants don't make a house pretty inside. It takes up space. People love to have plants in a house. Plants can be great for environment and health and all kind of stuff, but you're selling your house, get rid of the plants.
Well, I think plants are fine. I just don't overdo it with the plants.
I've never seen a house that has
I mean, it shouldn't feel like a jungle when you walk through.
right. I don't know. I'm not even big on plants at all in a house. If you're selling a house, I think it should be just about the house. You don't walk into a model home and see plants. You walk in a model home and you see a stage furniture, so it's
Nobody lives
clean.
It's a model home.
And you want your house to look the model home when you're selling your house, so that people can feel that excitement when they're
I'm
walking.
going to
in.
disagree with you a little bit.
You can't.
I am.
You
I'm going to.
I
I'm
can't. I
going to.
am.
No, it's because there's like I've had clients walk through a house and they go, I never would have thought to put the TV there. That's a great idea.
That's
You know what I'm
true.
saying?
Yes.
So, you want them to be able to say, okay, well, I wouldn't have thought that I would have a place for my plants and stuff like that. But this southern exposure that my plants are going to get, you know what I'm saying? So it's hit or miss. I think
That's
it's an overdone thing.
Fair and reasonable.
It's an overdone
and
thing.
it also depends on the size of the house, the style of the house.
Right.
Like in a ranch house would be different than a colonial house. How things are hanging from the ceiling, et cetera, as you're walking around too. That could play a role. So, what is the sweet spot? Pricing a home at 500 instead of 515 to appear more in line with search brackets. We just talked about that before. A 500K is a major sin for many buyers. It creates more eyes, more showings, and sometimes above ask offers.
Well, explain to them what the online search brackets.
So when people are shopping, good question. When people are shopping online, okay, they're going to shop in $25,000 increments. They're not shopping in $10,000 increments.
Well, they may go as high as 50.
They could go as high as 50,
So
but
450 to 500.
they could definitely.
You know?
But the point is, you're in that bracket. You don't want to price your house at 501 or 509 because now that buyer that maybe could afford that house isn't seeing that house for sale. It makes zero sense. It's a very poor marketing, and that's why you want to hire a professional realtor to make sure they educate you on pricing your house.
A good realtor, giving away a trade secret here.
Trade secrets.
A good trade secret here. I do with my clients. If we're 450 to 5,
Yes.
okay, I bump them to 515. so that we do see the ones that come in at 505,
Well,
501.
as the buyer's agent, that's a smart idea, except they
Yeah.
can't do it themselves when they're on. Most of the time, the buyers are shopping on these Zillows and Realtor.coms and all these websites.
Yeah, when I set them up for the automatic email
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
On the MLS search, you can definitely change the criteria a little bit differently, but typically you're looking at property on these social media websites that don't have that opportunity.
Yeah, and they're not going to boost it up. They're just going to go, I'm qualified up to this, or this is what I want to spend. I'm not doing a penny over.
That's exactly
And
right.
and they don't see your house at 515,
Absolutely correct.
and they're the ones that would have killed to have your house.
Absolutely correct. I'm hoping that all of you guys have listened to what Eric and I have to say today. And if you could
Mostly
please
what I said.
if you could please share that with your friends, your family, the people that you know looking to possibly sell or buy. Building a relationship with you guys is so important to us. Knowing that you have trusted professionals that have been in the business for some time now, it makes a difference. Education makes a difference. When we walk through a house, how to identify potential problems that other people are going to see that you don't see on a regular day, an everyday basis. That makes a difference. We're there to protect you, there to help you, there to help you have an amazing experience. So we would love to work for you. Eric Vasquez,
100%.
David Lamel, and Team Powerhouse would love to work for you. You have our contact information on the screen, hopefully. And if you're on Instagram, we'll give it to you out loud as well. Eric
I like the way
Vasquez,
you did that then.
right?
Like, number
203-707-9077. David Lamel, 203-671-7062.
Right.
We appreciate the opportunity to work for you guys. It would be an honor and a privilege. We will promise to make your experience amazing. Loyalty, trust is everything to us. We want to wish you a fantastic week.
Hey, it's finally summer.
It's finally
We
spring
went from
Hold on.
winter
to fall.
to spring.
No, it's been fall.
To spring intro,
Spring intro.
and then fall,
Yeah,
and
right,
now into summer.
right.
Into almost like, yeah.
We're now, it's so,
Welcome to the Northeast.
right, the beach club opens up, right? And we go there, and I'm in like 3 levels. I got 3 layers on in a jacket on top of that, like it's winter time.
And ice skating.
And ice
Yeah.
freezing outside. I mean, and what's with the
Crazy.
weekends? It's now going to be a beautiful week, and then rain the weekends.
Yeah.
Come on, Connecticut. Let's get things a little better over here. We need some better weather for the weekend so we can enjoy it.
Better weather.
Better weather.
Okay.
We need better weather for the weekends, please. We all need to start praying for better weather on the weekends.
That's a tongue twister
It's
for you,
a
huh?
tongue twister
Wow,
for
okay.
sure. All right, everybody. This
No
is
wheel?
Eric and David, No Wheel. It
Peace.
is Team Powerhouse Show. Thank you for joining. We will see you next week, and thank you so much.
Peace.